Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about the age-old philosophical question of AK versus AR. So first thing before I start, I'd like to just send a big thank you out to everyone who has subscribed. I greatly appreciate you guys. I can't say that enough. Also, thank you to everyone who has been commenting. I've been really enjoying talking to you guys and getting your comments here and opinions and thoughts on a few things. Also, thank you to everyone who has gave a thumbs up to any of the videos. That lets me know that you guys are liking the videos or if I need to change something or what have you. Also, word of warning here, cautionary tale. This video is going to be a bit long here, so stick along for the ride. Hope you enjoy, and if you do, please like, comment, and subscribe. So, before we get into it, of course, we're going to do the safety check. Nothing in the nothing in the chamber there. Nothing there. So, age-old debate. We've all heard it. We all know about it. We all have our reasonings and choices. Now, it's just kind of my take, my opinion, and just kind of my viewpoint on the whole subject, because it's always good to talk about these things and just see different people's viewpoints, from the other side where the grass is greener, right? So first thing I would say is the main difference between the AK and the AR, when it comes down to it, is ergonomics and manual of arms. Now, some people prefer the AK, some people prefer the AR. Now, what I've noticed is it just really comes down to how it ergonomically fits you and what manual of arms you prefer to perform. And for that, I would say before you kind of make your choices based on whatever anyone says or whatever you think, just go out and try one. If you never shot an AK in your life, go try one. Same thing for ARs. Just go pick one up, go to your local gun shop, go try one at the range, go try, just feel one out from behind the counter and just see which one fits you. For me, personally, I prefer the AK. If you looked at my other videos here, you'll see that I'm a big pusher of 7.62-39. I enjoy it myself. However, I get the benefits of 5.56. But for me personally, I just like the AK platform all around. It fits me best. I like the manual of arms, and I like the round it shoots. Now, same can be said for the AR right here, which this is a Saltwater Arms SW15 Barracuda. If you guys want to see a review on this beauty right here, check on the channel. I have a review up for that. And I'll be coming up with one for this Vector Arms AK here as well shortly. So kind of getting back on the track here. The first, so after ergonomics, of course, you kind of pick that out, feel your way out. The next main difference between the two is magazine. Now, magazines only come second to ammo because if you don't have ammo, you basically have a very expensive club on your hands. But number two, especially for semi-automatic weapons of any kind, your magazine. If you don't have a magazine that's reliable, feeds well, and is durable, then you're going to have a bad time. And, of course, this is, if you can't get the rounds in chamber, it ain't going to be no use to you. So for the magazines here, I have a Magpul. These are both Magpul Gen 3 PMags. One is, of course, the AK, and one is, of course, the AR, just to keep it apples to apples as close as possible. Now, when it comes to general usability, I have to give the AR mag just the upper lip. It's a bit easier to get it out of the gun, get it into the gun. It's also more streamlined. So if you're having it in like a chest rig, mag carrier, things like that, it's gonna perform a bit better. These AK mags can sometimes get caught up on these little feed lips here. So for just general usability and ease of use, I'm gonna give it to the AR mag. Now for durability, you got to give it to the AK mag. Main reason for that is how the magazine actually interfaces with the gun itself. Now, as you see here, the AK mag, and this is like I said, Gen 3 PMag. Now, steel mags obviously will have this little metal reinforced lip. However, some of the earlier Gen P mags, like Gen 1 and MOE ones, also the Gen 2 ones, they do not have this metal reinforcement. So, pretty much you'd have an AR mag as far as reliability. But for the AK mag, it actually locks into the gun, which I think is a major benefit for it. Now, like I said, it does lock. So in order to get a mag in, which most of you should know if you're watching this video here, you put it in the front, and then you rock the magazine in. Now, once it's in, magazine ain't going anywhere. I mean, you can like put your full weight on here. I mean, you could do push-ups on this thing pretty much. And it isn't going anywhere. It's actually locked into the gun on two different points, and it basically isn't going anywhere. Of course, to unlock it, though, you have to grab the mag by the back, push this little piece of stamped steel here, rotate the mag out. Now, of course, you can just strip it just by, flicking and then putting another one in, but does take a bit more skill to get used to, and you do have to feed it in. You can't just like shove it into the gun. Now with the AR, of course, put the magazine in, all you gotta do is click a button, and boom, drops free out the gun. Now also to get it in, you just gotta push it into the gun. So a lot easier to use, ease of use from that aspect. However, again, to the reliability part, if you're putting a lot of pressure on this AR and you're using the mag as a stand, yeah, it's probably going to be fine. However, after repeated use, and if you're trying to pull on it or whatever, this is all that's holding it in the gun, only on one side. It's a little piece of tab plastic right here, no kind of reinforcement, anything like that. After so many uses, this is going to wear out to where the metal one is going to keep going a bit longer, just generally. It's just how it is. The polymers versus the metals. It's metal's always going to win when it comes to durability and longevity. So magazine is kind of the first part of it. The second thing is the round that it fires. Now the AK fires a 7.62-39, which is a 30 cal Freedom Seed, and the AR fires a 5.56 223 round Freedom Seed. Now, of course, 22 caliber. Now, each one has its benefits, and again, this kind of comes to personal preference, whatever you're going to be running your gun from and however you are planning on using your gun. So for the AK, you have that 30 caliber pill. Now, bigger, heavier round, has a bit more of a knockdown power, I guess you say, or just not higher terminal ballistics, but basically transferring a lot of energy in a shorter distance downrange than an AR can. Now, AR shines in things like if you're trying to do a barrier penetration or distance. And by barrier penetration, I mean, of course, like anything like a steel plate or anything like that. Now, AK side, because it is a heavier grain bullet, it is mainly used for anything under 300 yards. So 300 yards and in, to where the 5.56 is pretty much, from 0 to 500, 600, 700, pretty much I like to say they top out at kind of like 600 yards is pretty much effectively where you're going to get it. So if you plan on going a bit longer range, go with the AR. However, for most engagements or anything that you're going to be trying to use your gun for, or hunting, which is my main aspect for going with an AK, 300 yards and in, perfectly fine. Now, again, with the whole debate, you can get both, but if you have to pick one, I feel like the AK is a bit more versatile with that 7.62 30 caliber Freedom Seed going down range. Just for the fact that if you do have to get through some kind of barrier like a cinder block or anything like that, this is going to transfer a lot more energy and keep its, just keep the projectile more solid and more stable going through that, to where a 5.56, because it's just zipping along there, as soon as it hits something that is very hard like a cinder block, it's just going to disintegrate, not go through. And I'll be doing a little bit of a cross comparison here shortly with that, so keep a look on the channel for that review. But the AK, you can go hunting with it. Not saying you can't go hunting with a 5.56, but with an AK with 30 caliber round, has a bit more of a potential for taking it down a sizable game animal, to where this just doesn't have as much energy to dump into the animal. It's just a lesser grain projectile. That's just the short of it. So again, depends on what you're kind of using your gun for here. Now, moving on, as you see here, we have overall length. So move these little mags over here. So general overall length, I'll line up the fronts together. Now, you can see AK goes a bit longer than fully collapsed. Now, this is a underfolder stock, and I picked this for a very specific reason. Once you start getting into it, if you're looking for ultimate compactness, boom, tells you right there. So if we go rear end, chopping quite a bit off the barrel. And that's one thing the AK can do that the AR obviously can't, just for the fact that the AK is gas piston operated system, to where the AR is a direct impingement gas operated system. Basically, the difference is the the gas from the round that's being fired out the chamber travels back via a tube here and actually hits on the bolt carrier and then moves the whole assembly back. Now, when it does that, it's actually moving the bolt carrier from this area here into this buffer tube. Now, with the AK, instead of having the action pretty much be all back here and this just being the gas deliverance system, there's actually a piston that runs along the full length here of the of the top of this receiver of the AK, and enacts with the bolt carrier itself, because it actually is part of the bolt carrier. So when the gas comes out of this tube, it actually expands and hits that bolt carrier and then pushes the whole assembly back. So your bolt carrier is actually riding from here to here, but the action is being controlled from gas up here. So it's just generally the difference between the two. So you're able to get a much more compact package altogether. Now, when you look at it apples to apples, this is a 16-inch barrel. This is just, like I said, standard AK here. If you get like a 10.5-inch package with your AR pretty much fully collapsed, it's going to be roughly the size of this. So, of course, the benefit with the 10.5 is, you're able to get actual shoulder stock here, where in AK you're not. But if you actually look at it, the AK, for given its size, you can keep it as it is, or you can go even shorter. You can go up to a 10.5-inch barrel if you like with an AK, and it's still going to retain all of its velocity. It's going to get a full powder burn or majority powder burn, and still give most of its energy downrange. You're only going to lose maybe like 200 feet per second versus like from a 16-inch versus like a 10.5-inch. To where an AR, you're losing a couple hundred, like you're losing like 500-600 feet per second when you get to that shorter barrel. Also, you're getting a ton of muzzle flash that's coming out because there's a lot of unburnt powder, because the 5.56 is made and designed to pretty much be between a 14.5-inch and a 16-inch barrel, just to get that full speed up, basically, and a full powder burn. So, again, for compact and usability sake, again, I'm gonna have to give it to the AK here. Now, again, I'll say it time and time and again here. Play a drinking game. Every time I say it's ergonomics, take a drink. But it comes to ergonomics. If you feel like you can run this better in a shorter configuration, you're okay with the muzzle flash, and you're okay with all that, get your AR, because if you're not going to shoot this comfortable and you shoot vice versa, you're not going to shoot well. It's just how it is. So so that's kind of general compactness between the two and just usability sake. Now, I've been talking a lot about ergonomics here, but manual of arms. So, AK, as you see here, it has a, it's pretty standard configuration. Now, it obviously isn't the most comfortable thing to hold with the stock like this, or I'll expand it out. But ergonomics, pretty fine. I put like a little hoe grip on here. It has a nice trigger. Nice little reset. Obviously not as precise as the AR. It's a bit more of a clunker. Not a clunker, but no, sorry, AK. I wasn't trying to upset you here. But it's definitely more of a get it done kind of weapon, not made to be as precise as the AR. It's more of it's better to have something than nothing, and it's better to have something that is reliable, durable, and gonna take a licking and keep on kicking. To where the AR is a bit more precise in that aspect. But ergonomics, fairly okay. Traditionally, you pretty much have just your front end here. This is where your hand's always going to be. This is where your hand's always going to be, and this is the angle that you're always pretty much going to be at. Same thing with the shoulder stock. Most AKs, except for some of the newer generations, to where they utilize a M4 buffer tube system, are going to have the same length of pull, like a standard NATO length. So if as long as you're okay with what's standard, their standard, go right ahead. Now, ergonomics, king of ergonomics, I'd say, is the AR. No doubt about it. The fact that, okay, hey, if I want to have a foregrip on here, I can. If I want to have a slimmer profile rail, I can. If I want to have a mag grip here that goes at a more standard angle, a kilted angle, and even if you want a grip here that some of the newer ones by Dark Horse, which are owned by Black Rain, I believe now, actually have a thumb trigger system, which is crazy. But I digress. You want to get that kind of customized? You can. You want to throw an optic on here? You can. You want to have ambidextrous controls? You can. You want to adjust your length of pull? You can. So, again, how much importance I put on ergonomics, the AK should be the clear winner for me. But it's just how I use the gun that kind of differs. So ergonomic king, AR. No doubt about it. Uncontested. Now, like I was saying, kind of switching up here. Manual of arms. Now, AK, it's pretty simple for all intents and purposes. It's in the full safe position. No, it's safe because it actually won't. Here, let me do this hand. It actually won't move past your safety mechanism here, which it's pretty obvious to. Oh, I have to move this out of the way. Big, nice lever. Get your thumb on it. Get your whole hand on it, and then I can rack the firearm. So, manual of arms. It's stupid simple. Move this, grab this, pull this. Done. Now, I personally like that just because it's less to remember, it's less to have to train, and it doesn't require as many fine motor skills. So if you do, God forbid, happen to be injured in any way, shape, or form, and you are incapacitated on your primary arm here, you're not going to have the same fine motor skills to operate an AR that you would an AK. You just grab it on anything, use your second hand, and just work that basic action. Ooh, that sounds like a crazy soundbite, doesn't it? Now, for the AR, for all the ergonomics that it does require a bit finer motor skills. In order to operate the safety effectively, you pretty much have to have your thumbs in all good working order here. So if you have it on safe and you have something go wrong, you have to push on here to be able to actuate the safety. Now, it's a bit smaller piece. Not hard to find by any stretch. It means, again, it falls in ergonomics because instead of having to reach over here and move my hand and stuff, I just keep it all within the same grip and can move it. With ambidextrous, of course, you have your southpaws have the good side of the world there too. Now, kind of moving forward as well, with keeping in the same subject of just manual of arms, with an AR, you're able to fully get rid of the magazine and pretty much everything without having to adjust your grip in any way, shape, or form. Now with the AK, like magazine, like I said, you have to grab the magazine, do all these extra motions, so you get that kind of fine motor skill a bit more than you would the AR. So when you look at it from that aspect, they almost even each other out. To which, again, comes back to, say it with me, ergonomics. And, of course, manual of arms by extension. And then also moving forward, you have a bit more controllability by the fact that you have a vertical foregrip here. And, you're just able to manipulate the weapon a bit easier. At times, I guess you'd say. Almost forgot. Charging system. With this, it does have an ambidextrous charging system. Now, it is fairly easy to operate as well. I mean, neither one of these guns are hard. You can give any one of these to any amount of people and give them a 15-minute lesson, and they'll be okay to use them. So for this, you obviously have to pull this back, but it is a bit more difficult to use, and then you do have to have a bit more strength in your hand to be able to hold the gun here. So when you're trying to pull it back, you're not pulling everything else back. But fairly easy, and that's kind of more of a personal preference thing. Now, the final thing I'll touch on here, at least for my opinion with this, is accessorize, right? Again, king of accessories, going to have to give it to the AR here. Now, with the AR, as you see, I can throw an optic on it. I can throw multiple. I can throw backup optics on it. I can add covers here. I can add foregrips. I could change out the grips here. I could change out the stocks here. I could change out all this stuff. Pretty much anything and everything you could see, you could change it out. Now with the AK, you're kind of limited to pretty much your muzzle device, your foregrip, and your handle here, your grip. Sorry, I lost it there for a sec. You can change out the triggers, which is pretty easy. You can't change out the safeties, but they're a little bit different. I mean, you can't add an M-block point. I mean, some do, but in terms of accessories, AR's got it hands down. On this one, I do have a Hogue grip, so I can add an optic on here if I like. I can add some M-lock attachments to it, so I can make it as versatile as I can with an AR. But for general out-of-the-box use, an AR is going to win. Now, with all those kind of praises, if you're keeping a tally up here of everything I'm saying, you're still probably saying, oh, well, why does he still go to the AK? I'm going to say it one last final time here. Take the double shot. Ergonomics. When I pick an AK up, for me, it just feels right. It fits right. The dimensions are just perfect for me. I don't know if it's just because my family rocks from the Eastern Bloc or what, but when I pick up an AK, I get feels I don't understand. To quote, Carnicon. I forget the guy's name. I think it's Dunley, but nevertheless, you know who I'm talking about. With an AR, I don't get the same. I mean, it's a bit lighter of a rifle, but overall, it just doesn't do it for me like an AK does. I mean, I'll use them. Obviously, this is mine. Obviously, I've decked it out with all the bang, whiz, go fast stuff. But it's just not my preference. So between the two, if I have to choose, I'm gonna say AK. For the other ones, for anyone else, I'm gonna say ARs. If the points I mentioned kind of line up, that's the one I'd say to go with. Kind of keep your own little personal tally, and mainly, again, go into your local shop, try them out, pick them up, fire them, see how they feel. You might be surprised. You might shock yourself. You might think, oh, I like the way it looks the way of that AR there, but man, that AK just feels right, or vice versa. So if you stuck around for this long, wow, you must be a long timer here. So I appreciate it. Thank you again. Throw a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys prefer ARs, AKs, or what your general take on it is. And let me know if I missed anything. And if I did, throw it in the comments. We'll talk about it, and maybe we can tell a few other people what's up. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope everyone watching this has an awesome, wonderful, fantastic day. I'll catch you guys next time.